reflect the views of KPK 102.5 FM, voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriter voices. KLK 102.5 FM. Good morning to you. It's Friday, 2016. This is Community Conversations. Kato Wonder is in the studio with you. I have my co-host with me today. This is Kubila Arden, and we have in the studio with us today Mr. Jeff Presley. Presley is a Republican. He is running for the office of Craighead County. And my mind is like judge. That's correct. Well, good way to start the show. But Presley is running for a Craighead County judge, and of course, KLK, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, does not endorse nor support any candidate for office, nor was any compensation provided for this interview. This interview is provided for your education purposes only, so that you can become an informed voter when you step into the polls. Now, we will tell you, what you would vote for. We're going to definitely tell you to please exercise your right to vote, because these people will make decisions for you. So, how are you doing today, Mr. Presley?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Presley, just tell us about yourself and your background.
I was born and raised in Craighead County. I spent my childhood over in the Eastern District around Caraway. Got into law enforcement in the early 90s. Worked construction for many years along with my father, helping build a lot of the schools and buildings around as a bricklayer. Went in law enforcement, worked with Craighead County Sheriff for a few years, and Jonesboro 911. I've been there now about 25 years. Been the E911 director there for about 10 years, and ready for a change. Our county is needing some help, so I have decided to throw my hat in the ring for a Craighead County judge.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you here, and I'm looking forward to hearing, your take on the different issues that the county is facing that the judge is directly involved in. I guess I'll start with a question that LaGizzy was talking about before we got on air. First of all, tell the people, what does county judge do? What are some of your responsibilities?
Well, I get that question a whole lot around on the campaign trail. A lot of folks, they think of a judicial judge. A Craighead County or a county judge in Arkansas is pretty much a mayor over the county. In Tennessee, they call him a county mayor. You're over the road department, the custodian of the buildings, and the budget for Craighead County. And a lot of people relate to a county judge as being a road foreman. I can tell you that a county judge is much more than a road foreman.
Okay.
It involves a lot of grants, compliance to stay in the race for the grants. It's very competitive throughout the counties north. To get grants for your safe rooms, roadway infrastructure, things like that. So you have to keep those audits clean, make sure that you're in compliance with your mitigation plan. And while we're on that subject, Craighead County right now is going on 4 years being out of compliance with FEMA and Homeland Security on mitigation.
Well, before you get to, kind of explain to the listeners, what is a mitigation plan?
A hazards mitigation plan is a FEMA-operated device that shows that you're ready to respond for the citizens in case of a natural or man-made disaster. You have to have these extensive plans, and some of the stakeholders in your communities are involved. For your schools, your hospitals, your major industries. So it's a resource lineup, if you will. So if we have to respond, let's say the New Madrid earthquake, we have that 6.0 earthquake, and we have infrastructure damage, and we lose water systems, we lose cell phone towers and things like that, electricity. We got to maintain, and they suggest to stand alone on our own for 3 to 4 days before we get outside help.
Oh, wow.
So that's why these plans are very important, and it's always a live document. It's something that you're working on and updating all the time. So our current administration has failed on this point. A lot of our documents for emergency plans are outdated. Our emergency operation plan, which is a direction for your resources and your people on the ground, right now that plan is about 8 years out of date. So I feel, having a background in public safety, I feel it's very important and should be top priority to take care of our citizens.
So touching on that, kind of explain further about how do you feel your experience uniquely qualifies you for the office?
Well, in the last 10 years as number one director, I have went through several sessions with the Homeland Security. I am currently the liaison officer for Homeland Security for all of Northeast Arkansas. So if we have a big incident, I'm in the middle of it. I'm one of the contacts that's going to get folks and boots on the ground to take care of business. Not only on that emergency response side, I'm also a FEMA emergency manager for the city. So we look at everything from flood. Back in May, we had a big flood in Jones. We've been doing a lot of work with the state and the federal government to mitigate some of the flood hazards. And we have highlighted several problem areas that we'll be working together with the small communities along with the state to
Okay, so it's like that, what you said, your responsibilities are working in hand with the mayor of the city as well. So you're their right-hand person, eyes and ears, on the ground type person.
correct. And the chain of command as a county judge is you're a resource. You're a resource for the small municipalities and the larger municipalities. So on the county level, we maintain a good emergency response, backup generators for the water system, making sure that the roadways out in the county are in good shape for school buses or school children. The ditches and things like that, we keep the drainage in shape. So it takes a lot of teamwork, and you be able to sit down at the table and work with these folks.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Presley, phone lines are open to 870-277-080 if you have questions for Mr. Presley, candidate for Craig County Judge. Once again, that phone number is 870-277-11080. Now, Mr. Presley, earlier you said that the county judge is kind of like a county mayor. So kind of just talk about how the county judge interacts with the quorum court, because the quorum court is kind of like the city council. And talk about the relationship that you would have with the quorum court if you are elected county judge.
Great question. The quorum court is just like a city council. So as a county judge, let's say that we're getting ready to make a major purchase. We're going to spend $500,000 on some new road equipment. The process would be for the county judge to get the information, the specs together, bring it before the finance and road committees, and present this to the full court. Open and transparent about the spending, the longevity of that equipment we're buying. What's the maintenance going to be and the long-term effect of that? So we can look at future budgets. Next year's budget, is this equipment going to last us 5 years and in place? It's all about communication and being transparent. But it's a big operation working with those members.
Okay. And so, along with the different other responsibilities you mentioned, basically the day-to-day operations of the city and the county, what responsibilities do you have within the courtroom, or do you actually sit behind it and handle any cases?
There's no judicial duties at all tied to the county judge, and that's a little bit misleading being a county judge.
Okay.
The only court that you'll actually rule over is, and you'll have a veto, as the quorum court.
Okay.
And across the county, I've encountered that a lot, and I want to know, what judge seat are you going to be taking?
Okay.
A county judge is, a countywide mayor.
Okay. I think a lot of people need to understand that, just because you have this judge, you may have a judge behind your name. It's not like in a courtroom overseeing cases. It's a totally different area.
But as a county judge, you work with several different elected officials that you help with their budget. You're not directly over them as a supervisor, but you've got the treasurer, you've got the tax collector, and the clerk. You've got folks that you're working hand in hand, so it's very important to have a good, strong team and working relationship. That's something I want to bring to the Craig County Courthouse at this time, is that we want to sit down and have those weekly and monthly meetings with all elected officials. We want to be open about what's going on. I think it's very important to build those relationships up. Right now in the court, we're working with a lot of different computer systems, software, and things like that. And on the average, Craighead County is about 15 to 20 years behind on some of those technologies. We really need some integration where each department can interact on software.
Okay.
So spend a lot of money on different softwares that will not interface with each other. We want to look at that on the IT standpoint and make sure that we got a good plan of action for the future so we can get that software in there and hopefully get everybody on the same page.
Okay.
Once again, we're speaking with Jeff Presley, Republican candidate for Craighead County Judge. If you have any questions, you can call us at 870-271-1080, or you can also post on our Facebook live stream. Now, Mr. Presley, one of the things that you mentioned in your campaign is grants for schools. So if you are elected Craighead County Judge, how will you use your position to get those grants for schools, and what grants are you specifically talking about schools?
The thing that we're really focusing on as a high priority is getting back in compliance with state and federal mandates for female homeland security. That's what really affects grants for schools. This last year, we've been turned down for 2 safe room grants in Craighead County.
Safe room grant.
Safe rooms for schools, which can also be used as community tornado shelters. Most schools now are building these safe rooms to get their children in and out of harm's way if they have to go in lockdown on a tornado situation. It's very important to get that funding from FEMA to help those costs. So we've lost out on about $3 million in grants in the last few years simply because we're not in compliance with FEMA. I want to get us back in compliance, make sure we get to this point where we'll get turned down for those grants. Being competitive across the state, those grants are going to other areas that's preparing to take them on. So right now we have some rural school districts in Craighead County that has no safe room because they lost that funding. To me, that's our children are our future. We've got to take care of them.
In your opinion, in your opinion, do you know why currently the county is out of compliance or behind in the mandate, in the mitigation plan? What has happened along the way?
I think that the accountability of some of the departments that's under the county judge is probably lacking a lot of supervision. And what has happened over the years, they wait till the deadline's there. And like I said, it was a very comprehensive plan that took a whole lot of work and a lot of people and stakeholders all in that game together. And I think it becomes overwhelming if you wait to that deadline. And that's what happened here.
Hired as a consultant without reaching out to outside sources.
There's not really a true consultant. We work with a group out of Memphis that actually does the mitigation plan for the city of Memphis.
Okay.
They come in and they have an satellite office here in Jonesboro at this time. So they worked with us for about 3 months as guides, letting us know what we need to do, what's going to be the next step.
Okay.
And then it was up to the county judge to set out to bid. This company was in the bid process. There was a lower bid, but the county decided to go with another company that's out of state. And that's who they contracted with. So currently we're still pending.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Presley, one thing that has definitely come over the past few months is the issue of flooding. As a judge, what would you do to help with the problems of flooding? There's been a lot of things said as far as like city officials, as far as like cleaning ditches and coming up with a plan to help with the drainage situation. But how do you see it on the county level and as well as working with the city to alleviate the flooding and drainage issues that the city and the county faces?
Well, I've got some firsthand knowledge of this last flood event in May that happened here in Craighead County. I worked along with city officials and the governor's office to get the declaration for the flood disaster here in Craighead County during that event. I went out and met with several folks, to the homes that was flooded. I sat and talked to the folks that was heartbroken, that lost a lot. Didn't know what the next step was. We've got to be prepared for that. And one of the ways to prepare is everybody work together. And that includes city officials, county officials. They do a great job. They have done a great job of cleaning the ditches and the waterways. From south of here, if it gets to the city limits and it can't get into the ditches out in the county because they're not cleaned out, it's not going to help clean the city. So that's where the important part comes in. And we hadn't had those key players at the table when we make these decisions about the drainage and the upkeep of the drainage. So at this time, we're working with some of the state reps to identify the drainage districts, who's over that drainage district, the main schedule, things like that, because everybody's in this game together. So I feel that Craighead County can play a very important part for every city on the drainage and flooding issues.
Okay. Now, what department that fall under? Which streets or the maintenance department?
Craighead County has a great road department, great crew of people out there that works hard, keeping our roads in shape. But I think that one aspect of the road department that needs to be enhanced is the drainage part of it. And the current judges mentioned that, they don't get into a lot of drainage issues. Maintain good, solid roads, whether it be a gravel or an overlay road, we've got to have drainage.
Yes.
So I think it's very important, and we've had the help of a certified engineer that's been a consultant with my campaign that's looked at some of the problem areas. And we're receiving calls every day about some areas that for years have been going out and doing a patch up. And a lot of that reoccurring problem is because of drainage.
It takes money to
Yes.
do these things, and unfortunately, the taxes that we pay cannot cover everything. So again, this goes back to the grants you were taught that you have to try to secure for the city and the county. But you have to have these things in place. You have to have all these little ducks in order to be able to be eligible to even apply for the money. And then, thank God that you get the money
That's
to
correct.
take care of it. So I hope the people that are listening see how important it is to have someone in a position that cares for their issues, that cares about the city county, that's going to try to push to get these things taken care of.
When we talk about bridge and roadway infrastructure and things like that, and public safety as far as our emergency response, not only does it affect our everyday living here in Craighead County, but it affects the future. Let's say that we got a company that's looking at Craighead County to come and establish a factory.
Okay.
The first thing they want to know, and I meet with them quite often as a 911 director, they want to know if we invest in your county and we bring people in, you have the means to take care of us.
Okay.
So it's very important for economic development. So you got to have the roadway infrastructure, the public safety. It all goes hand in hand.
Okay.
Once again, speaking with Mr. Jeff Presley, Republican candidate for Craighead County Judge. Don't forget the election is this November. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but please educate yourself on all of the candidates and all of the issues that are very important to you.
And I don't know what's being spent.
We do encourage.
I met around it, and I've tried throughout this year to meet with a lot of them.
Okay.
A lot of them has an open door policy, and that's what I bring to Craighead County. If a citizen of Craighead County has an issue that they need to talk to me about, they'll have my cell phone. They'll have my assistant's cell phone. We'll set up meetings, and one thing that we intend to do that's never been done here in Craighead County is we're going to establish a reporting system that goes out to the media, to the citizens, either on a monthly or bi-monthly type standard of the work that's being done, of any major purchases, We'll just give them an update of what the county is doing. That gets open and transparent. They'll know exactly what's happening within that city or that county government. If they have any questions, of course, they can always come and visit with us.
Okay. I know the city of Jonesboro has their own webpage, and you can sign up for alerts. I receive emails, and I don't get overloaded with emails. Just every now and then they have a special announcement. So, is there a website for the county, or is it all tied into the city of Jonesboro?
Craig County does have a website this time. It's not a truly interactive website.
Okay.
A lot of it that I've checked on and some of the links or shows to be broken this time. We do enhance that service because social media, internet is a big tool right now, and and a lot of your younger folks, that's going to be the venue that they're going to contact you on. So we want to make sure we have every opportunity that's out there to interact with our citizens.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you go ahead.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll ask this question.
Okay.
We were talking about streets, repair developments and different things going on around the county.
Well, basically what I was asking is, what are your plans to improve roads? Are you going to try to get gravel roads paved? What about roads that may have been in disrepair or even widened roads? What are your plans for just like the roads and increase work with the city as far as roads and other highway projects?
Well, again, we need to work hand in hand with the Arkansas Highway Department. All those are going to be connector roads to that. We need to work with all cities because we're going to interact with their road infrastructure. What we found over this past year, and we got a lot of calls and did a lot of visits out, site visits, to some gravel roads. And it's a big deal for folks living in an area that's got a gravel road. It can damage your vehicles, the dust, the dirt, and things like that. We have visited some areas that's got over 80 residential homes, nice homes in the area. It's a bus route and mail route. They have petitioned for years to get these roadways paved. It's still gravel at this time. Now, whenever you go out to pave a road, you want to make sure that infrastructure's your foundation for that road's ready. If you pave with that, you're going to have problems. And that's what we've seen, and our engineers talked about. There's several roads that have been paved over the last few years that were not ready foundation. So it's now turned into an area where they have to go and repatch, or the road is caved in. So I think it's very important to get that good advice and make sure that we get those road foundations ready for that pavement, so we're not back in 2 years trying to fix it.
Do you think that I know we keep going back to flooding a little bit, but during that time when it flooded back in May, there were lots of pictures where paved roads literally got washed away. So do you think that was part of the problem as well? The foundation wasn't secure enough to support what was going on?
It's a good possibility that, poor foundation, but a lot of it is the drainage. Keeping that water flow off the roadway is the key to that longevity of that pavement. And I feel that, if it's a school bus route, or if it's going to a church off of a main highway or to a cemetery, let's get that part paid. Let's take care of the citizens. That's what they're paying taxes for.
Okay. And paved roads and drainage seem to have been one of the biggest issues in Jonesboro, Craig County, I would say for the last 20 years. It's like, okay, when are we going to start seeing some changes and some improvements? Yes, the city has done some improvements, so I don't want to, I'm not trying to bash them, but there's still more work that needs to be done.
We've got a very unique county, and we have challenges. We have the Crowley's Ridge that runs right through the middle of our county. So it's totally different roadway infrastructure, the drainage and the hills and the rocks and things like that. You go 25 miles to 30 miles to the eastern district across the St. Francis River, to the Lake City, Monette, Black Oak, Caraway. You got the sea loom full soil over there that creates a whole nother challenge for roadway infrastructure. So you have to be prepared, and I think it all comes down to training your personnel.
Okay.
And there's a lot of grants and training out there on a statewide level that will help us with that.
Okay.
Also, Mr. Presley, let's kind of shift gears just for a little bit. Obviously, when you're in the position of county judge, you don't just deal with the major city, you deal with the smaller towns as well. So, what are some of the challenges that you think they face those smaller towns? Some of the things that have been told to you, and what are some of your plans to help these smaller towns, like with the things that they need, or even just helping them to grow and attract businesses and jobs to those areas?
Well, one of the challenges for our small rural areas, small towns at this point in Craighead County is, Jonesboro is growing big. Everybody works in Jonesboro. Most people in Craighead County work. We're seeing a lot of our communities become what we call a bedroom community. They all live and sleep in a small town, but work in Jonesboro. So what we got to do is protect that infrastructure in those smaller towns by being a resource for them. Now, for instance, in 2009, when we had a major ice storm that affected most of the state of Arkansas and really affected Craighead County. Something that a lot of people don't think about is, to keep your water systems up and your sewer systems up, you have to have electricity.
Yeah.
So a lot of these small towns didn't have the backup generators or the resources to keep that going. That's where the county is very important, to have those ready to go. And they're available through surplus and grants, but have them ready to go for each one of those municipalities. So let's take care of the citizens, make sure they've got that water and sewer systems up and running. Do what we can to make life a little bit more comfortable until we get back online.
Okay. And so, coming up with these different plans to help these different smaller cities within the county, who do you meet with? Like, who runs? They have their own mayors for the.
They do, and most of them, they have a very proactive mayor and city council that works together on a smaller format than Jonesboro, of course, smaller cities. They have some great folks in leadership in most of these cities, and we're looking forward to sitting down at those meetings, finding out what can we do as a resource at the county judge's office to help you.
Okay.
And that's an important part of building those working relationships. It really is.
Okay.
So, Mr. Presley, if you are elected Craighead County Judge, what would you do on day one?
Well, day one, we want to get and of course, we've done a lot of legwork so far. I've got a good team of people that's been doing FOIs, and we want to know what's moving in Craighead County, where are we spending in Craighead County? Is it being spent in the right direction? So, of course, first thing we want to do is get a good audit of our resources. We'll be working with a new budget. We want to make sure that budget is correct and where we need those areas. But we'll be meeting and greeting with every department head, every elected official, and we'll start building those working relationships.
Okay. And even though election day is November 8th, when does your day start?
It'll be January 1st, be the new year. So.
Okay.
And your term week, is it 2 years or 4 years?
Right now it's 2 years. It's going to be on the ballot where it could go to 4 years. So the first term will be a 2-year term. In 2 years you can't get a lot done. You're coming in, the first year is going to be a learning process, getting to know everybody. Second year, it's going to be a little bit more. But 2 years you'll get your feet and be ready for the next round.
Okay, so you said it's
Well, they're elected official, so if you live in that district, you can sign up to run for that. Just like a county judge signs up to run for that position, you run in your district. So some of the districts you're running in are smaller. You may have, several hundred people to contact in that, but it's a process for any elected official office. That's correct. Mm-hmm. That's right. Well, we got several. We got districts District is downtown and to the west. And we've got a district that's South Jonesboro. I think my JP for my district over there is Dave Tennyson. Been here for a few years. But like we got several contested this year, so you can go online, the Cricket County website, and look up quorum court members, and you can see a map in your district where you live and who is your JP. Okay, okay, you look that up and see who your JP now. One part of North Jonesboro, northeast part, up into Brooklyn, that's going to be an open seat. Gary Meadows is a JP in that area now, and he's actually not going to run again, so you got two people that's running for that position. All right, thank you for the call.
Oh, sorry. So I didn't mean to cut you off, Miss Farrell. So my finger gets a little too big. Mrs. Farrell, she calls it every day, and she is definitely a faithful listener, and we definitely appreciate her calling in. Of course, if you have a call or a question for Mr. Jeff Presley, phone number is 870-77-1080. Once again, phone number is 870-77-1080. We're also streaming live on our Facebook page, so you can also post your questions or comments as well. Now, Mr. Presley, what is the role of the KK County Judge, in your opinion, when it comes to dealing with local law enforcement? Obviously, you work with the Sheriff's Department, but as far as the other local agencies as well, and what are some of your opinions to feel that if you were the county judge, you help law enforcement?
Well, that's where the grants, and we talked a lot about grants, but that's the very important part of the grant cycle is everything law enforcement does has some type of grant that you can apply for, whether it be a SWAT team or a search and rescue and things like that. So it's very important for the county judge to stay on top of those grant opportunities and be a resource for the police chief, and let us all work together. I think the important part of law enforcement is information sharing. And we all have to be on the same page to do that, not only on a day-to-day basis for working everyday police work, but resource police cars, the buying power, buying together on state bids. Let's make sure that we're using that taxpayer's dollar to the best that we can when we purchase anything, and that's where working together as a group is going to help us.
Okay. I want to just backtrack just a little bit, and Ms. Norman was asking about who's on the quorum, and you mentioned you said JP. Would that be listed of the Ps?
That's correct.
Okay.
Court member is considered a JP, judge of the peace.
Okay. And so I actually want to invite them on. I haven't contacted anyone just yet, but if
I'll get you that lineup and send it to you. So.
well, I have a list, but sure, any contacts that you can make, any little, anyone you can speak to, like, look, you need to come on.
We have several great Republican candidates that's running for JP, so we'll get you that lineup.
All right. Well, thank you.
And of course, we extend the same invitation. Democratic candidates, independent candidates, all candidates for office are certainly welcome to come on this one. We want, like I said, we're not going to tell you which side to support, but we want to give each one a fair opportunity to come and express who they are, what they stand for, and what they believe in, and that you, listeners, make the decision. Because once again, these people who you elect into office, they're going to make the decisions, especially at the local level, that affect you on a day-to-day basis. So again, I strongly encourage all the listeners to study the candidates. If you see them in public, I'm sure Mr. Presley and several other candidates are pro. If you're not, then you really don't have any business. But
that's true.
But they're approachable. If you see them out and about throughout town, so if you have questions, say, hey, I want to know what's your thoughts on this, and then depending on whatever answer they tell you, use that to make your choice.
And I'm going to just say to all of those, anyone out there listening that is running for any particular office, I'm sorry, Mr. Cho.
That's all right.
If you've received a phone call from me, email, please reply. We would love to have you on. We're trying to give everyone opportunity to let the community put a face to a name so they can hear what you have to say, hear where you stand on the issues, and then they can make an informed choice. And I'm really grateful that for you, Mr. Jeff. I know we've had you on as the E911 director, and now we're switching gears. And I think this is very important that to know what you do, what your position is all about. I've said it many times, I literally don't here, and I just lived here. I didn't get involved in anything. I had no idea that your job would be, the position of county judge is so extensive, the responsibilities that, go along with that. So I'm thankful for you. And, I look forward to speaking with the other candidate as well to see what they have to say. So we don't want to make it seem like we're being partial to anyone in particular. We're willing to listen to everyone you have to say.
Well, running for public office, you're a public servant. I've been a public servant for 25 years now. One of my great achievements, I think, in my career as a public servant here in Jonesboro and Craighead County is working along with Morgan Dick, being on that board of directors to help protect our children. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, I'm a partner with them. I'm trained with John Walsh at Center in Washington, D.C. Like I said before, the children are our future. You got to have a passion for public service. You got to take care of business. And that's what I've done for 25 years, and I'm looking forward to doing it on the county level.
Okay.
So do you have children come up to you and ask you questions or anything? Tell us about more about your interaction with children, and what would you say to the children out there in Craighead County?
A lot of children, we've been having these events in all the small cities across Craighead County over the last few months. We've been meeting over Ash and Kickaway and Lake City, and we go out and we'll cook hot dogs and hamburgers and have Cokes and ice cream. A lot of the children come up there and they're a little bit confused about elected officials. They want to know, when can I vote? Which that encourages me, because I'd like to see every person, as soon as they reach that age, to jump in there and have a voice in it, because it's very important. But I think it's important for those children to meet us and talk to us. And a lot of them says, "Can you get me out of a ticket if I speed?" No, we can't. But that's part of that learning process for those children. So we have to take that time. I think it's very important. I have grandchildren, and I want to take that time to talk to them and let them know what this whole system's about. And one day, they may be running for office. They may be running for a county. So.
Would you like to see, I know it's really hard to get curriculum change in schools, but when it comes to civics classes and local government courses, would you like to see some changes?
I would love to. Matter of fact, I would love to go out to some schools as a county judge and talk to them about what we do in that office on a daily basis. I think it's important for them.
And I'm sure you could definitely include classes on public safety as well, so the kids at a young age could know what to do and how to respond in certain situations. We're speaking with Craighead County Judge candidate Mr. Jeff Presley. This is Community Conversation. We'll be back to KLDK 102.5 FM. Well, you've been on here before. You know how it works. We got a short segment after this break.
That's good. I appreciate it.
We can extend it to everybody.
If you hadn't responded in COVID, County Judge.
Actually, yes, he'll be here at 9:23.
Okay, also we did get the schedule. Okay.
That surprised me, because we don't have public speak.
Remember what you did in the webcam, so.
Will spend more than $245,000.
But I mean, but without naming names, some candidates are harder than others to pin down.
Here's a list of our JPs. We got several good JPs. It's ready to go.
Well, I wrote down the one that people running against. So J1, 3, 5, 6, 11, 12, 13. And I need to start
Aaron Harris and Brad Dahl
yeah.
and Earl Cook.
That makes zero cooks.
He's on the council. I think he's on the council, isn't he?
No,
I mean,
he's running for JP. But,
oh, okay.
Yeah, he's been a real estate agent for many years. Dan asked me if he's running.
And I think
Just
that's more. I think I may have interviewed him. I told myself people.
He has a lot of the city council or meetings.
And Ray Kid. I know.
He was a state representative for
Okay. I know. That name is somewhere.
There's Bob Blankenship.
Oh, wow. Yes.
But that's good. You see, this candidates running these people that care and want to be engaged in the political process.
It's going to be a big election year, presidential election and things. So
President on down.
a lot of people will run this year's election. So that's a good thing.
Well, I always say, be the change which you seek. You know,
Yep.
go to your voice.
Jonesboro's community radio.
But definitely drop it down and say, look, if we don't bite, please come on and talk to us.
That's that UCCA class. You been attending
No,
those meetings yet?
I'm scheduled in a few weeks to be on there for my little 911 spiel, but it's, I guess.
Yeah, it is. I went to night one as an alumni, so we couldn't even hardly stand in there.
I look forward to those sessions. I really like giving my little 911 part of it. It ties it all together, what the call process is.
Yeah, because I remember when I went through it, you know, it was definitely eye-opening. The technology has evolved. You know, Billy, he was talking about they're gonna, if they don't already, they're gonna soon have it in place to where, you know, you can send video of your phone, what's going on, you can send pictures to the dispatcher, so they can, that way they can send on to the responders, so they'll know who or what to look for. And I think one of the things now you can send in, like you can send in like a layout of your house.
Right.
So if it catch fire, they'll have a picture of where the rooms are.
Smart 911.
They'll know who to.
So,
They'll know how to come in and look if someone's trapped in the house.
Yeah. Pinpoint the spot.
I remember you talking about the smart 911 before and how people go in and create a profile. And I really tried to get young people in my church to do what we were supposed to do a back to school thing. And I'm like, I was set up to my computer and, you know, but.
And we're going to have a big event next month. I think it's around the 22nd.
22nd.
Bishop Street is in action. More information available via Dr. Charles 870-931-3477.
And we're back on community conversations on KLK 102.5 FM. Cato Wonder is in the studio with you. Have our co-host, who is always with us, our lovely co-host, Mrs. Kabila Hart, and we have Mr. Jeff Presley, Republican candidate, Craighead County Judge. Once again, KLK and the Wood Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council does not endorse any candidate for office, nor any compensation provided for this interview. This interview is provided for your educational purposes only. We do have a community announcement. This comes from New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. They are having a fundraiser today. 3 pieces of fish, spaghetti, slaw, drink are available. So if you need more information, it is available at New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church.
And that's at 403 West Allen Street on the north side of Jonesboro.
All right, so let's get back to Mr. Presley. So, Mr. Presley, just kind of recap who you are. You decided to run for Craighead County Judge and sell your case on why the voters should elect you as the next Craighead County Judge and what you will do for them.
Yes, sir. You know, I could retire in 5 years and was to do that as a director and worked in the Sheriff's Department over the years. But I feel almost an obligation. I have the knowledge of emergency management and the grant system throughout the state. I want to fix our county government and make sure that our citizens are taken care of. I want to update our county infrastructure, not only on the IT computer systems, but let's make sure that we've got a good human resource department. Right now they have none in Craighead County. We need that resource for our employees. We need a good system of employee evaluation for incentive raises and things like that. I want to come in and make sure we're taking care of business. It's your tax dollars going into the county government, operating on about a $30 million budget per year. Let's make sure we're using that money to the best of our abilities to enhance the quality of life for the people of Reagan County. If elected, I will do that.
Okay.
Now, Mr. Presley, do you have any upcoming events where you're going to be speaking at, in which people could come to meet you in person?
We've got a headquarters right now, Republican headquarters, that we spend a lot of time at on the weekends. Of course, I'm still working a full-time job, but next month I'm planning to take a lot of vacation time. I do have a team of volunteers that's working with me right now that's available.
And where's the, not to cut you off, but where is that office in South?
Our Republican headquarters is at 2929 South Caraway. It's right there at Caraway and Phillips, the medical building, the big white two-story medical plaza, right behind the state police headquarters. We're about 2 ways of that building. You'll see our big sign out there of candidate signs. We have somebody at that office pretty much every day, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. This coming Saturday, we got a big event at the headquarters. We'll have some folks making calls, doing knockings, and that will be our base right there. You can pick up signs for your yard from that headquarters. Just about every candidate on the Republican side should have some signs and stickers and things like that. We've just got a load of Donald Trump and Pence signs in. That's been a real hot item. Had a lot of folks coming in. And you can also get the paperwork to register to vote, which that time's coming up. It's going to close out pretty soon. So if you're not registered, stop by our headquarters, meet with the folks there, pick up a yard sign, and I would love to see those Jeff Presley for County Judge signs all over the city and all over the county.
And you have a website, Facebook, social media, if people that want to like your page, find out more about yourself and your platform, they can't make it out to the headquarters to meet you in person.
Absolutely. I've got a Elect Jeff Presley County Judge Facebook page. I've got a Twitter account, Elect Presley County Judge. We do have a website, electjeffpresley.com. And we've got some good interactive information on there. And if you have any questions, we've got ways on there you can contact us, send me a message. We'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Okay, and one more question I didn't have. Obviously, KLK is a minority radio station, but what would you say specifically to the specific needs of the minorities in Craighead? I know that you'll be you'll be a county judge for all citizens, but obviously the minority community, other ethnic groups have their own unique concerns. So, what would you say to address the needs of Americans?
One thing I think that we really need to work on here in this county is job opportunities, equal opportunities. Let's make sure that information's getting put out there to everybody. Let's make this an equal opportunity event. Let's make sure that we're contacting the people at our town hall meetings. Let's invite everybody. And I think the message here is we're all in this together. And we should all have that information. So as your county judge, that information is going to be put out there. The town hall meetings is going to be invited for everybody to come in. So we want to take care of business.
And of course, we will definitely put that information out there, no matter who is elected county judge. That's what we're here for, to provide information to the community. So for all of the government officials out there, or even like we said, the nonprofits, that's trying to make a difference in the Jonesboro community, we definitely want to know about it so that we can share it with our listeners. So like Mr. Jeff Presley said, that everyone can have an opportunity to be armed with the information that they need to improve their quality of life.
I just want to encourage everyone, when they do host these different town hall meetings, you to attend, the only way you're going to get your voice heard. So you can't sit at home and complain when you're not out, voicing your concerns and stuff.
And we've had some really great town hall meetings with several people attend, and we've had a few where we've had 3 or 4 attend. But everybody's voice is important. If we've got 2 people there, we're going to talk to you just like there's a room full of people.
Okay.
It's very important for everybody to be informed.
That's right.
Speaking with Mr. Jeff Presley, he is is Republican candidate for Kent County Judge. The election day is November 8th. Once again, KLK and the Voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council does not endorse nor support any candidate for office, nor was any compensation provided to the station for the interview. This interview, as all of our interviews, is provided for informational purposes. I thank Mr. Presley for stopping by the studio. Thank you for taking time out of the schedule. And once again, we look forward to our interview with his opponent. So we get a chance to hear his side of the story. And then you take both these interviews. We do live stream Facebook, and the videos are available off the air. Watch them, talk about it with your friends, and then step into that ballot box November 8th and make your choice on the candidate. Not just office, but for any office that you feel best represents your values. Because as my fraternity says, a voteless people is a hopeless people. Your vote is your voice. Any final comments?
Thank you very much. I truly appreciate this opportunity to come in. And I do have a good shout out. I have a great team of people that's working the committee to elect Jeff Presley. I got folks that's on the ground today. This is in contact around this county, throughout the cities, and they're working hard. Not only mine, but the Republican team here in Craighead County. They are just a wonderful group of people that supports us, and they work with us. The guidance and leadership in there is just able.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys. Stop there.
So glad to have you. Don't forget, all day today, New Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church, 4 West Allen Street, fish fry fundraiser, 3 pieces of fish, spaghetti, slaw, dessert, and drink. More information is available at the church. Contact Dr. Ray Scales. He'll be happy to help you out with that. This is Community Conversations. You all have a great weekend and see you Monday. This is KLK 102.5.